They're still battling the unknown once SB 1391 goes into effect next year. It's been a long and lingering 5 years for Sarah Rice and her mother, Vicki.
We thought this was all done in December of 2014 when the conviction came in.
Back in 2013, Sarah's grandmother, 76-year-old Claudia Maupin, along with her husband, 87-year-old Oliver Northup, known as Chip, were brutally killed in their Davis home. Daniel Marsh, who was 15 at the time of the murder, was found guilty, but later appealed his conviction as a result of Proposition 57.
It was just another thing for our family to endure.
Wednesday, Marsh's case was sent back to adult court. It reinstates the now 21-year-old's original sentence of 52 years to life.
I feel peace about today, and I feel like I'll be able to rest and my family will be able to rest.
Yolo County Prosecutor Amanda Zambor says today's victory may be compromised in January when SB 1391 goes into effect. It prohibits anyone 14 and 15 years of age from being tried as an adult.
If the appellate court rules that that applies to this case, then the judge's ruling would be pretty much eviscerated, and he would go to juvenile court and get out at the age of 25, which is in just about 3.5 years.
But Zambor says she's optimistic Marsh's case will be excluded under the new law.
Potentially 1391, if it's upheld, would be retroactive for anybody not final on appeal. Today, Daniel Marsh's case is final. He has no more appeals left.
While this family is staying hopeful, they're lending their voices for other families putting up the same fight.
1391 affects so many, and at the end of the day, I want to make sure that nobody else is forgotten.
Piles of rubble along with household items left unrecognizable at homes along Pence Road.
Looking at my garage door that it once used to be.
Omar Franklin, along with his wife Janet, narrowly escaped the campfire.
Over here is my pop-up trailer with my son's his little scooter that he used to have.
Nearly 1 month later, an emotional moment, seeing what's left firsthand. As evacuations in the South Pines zone were lifted in areas along Pence Road.
I was just feeling like you just feel a void, like there's just nothingness. You have nothing but the clothes that you left with, and that's a very strange feeling.
County Health Department is warning families returning to their homes that conditions may still be dangerous. They say the property should be declared safe from structural ash and hazardous waste from the fire.
It's just devastating.
Omar says he plans to one day rebuild. As this family sifts through the rubble together, they're thankful they still have their lives.
And my wife had so many pictures up under our house. Now we have nothing, but we have each other. And I have my son and my wife.
I love Nick! I love Nick!
Inside this Stockton park, dozens of people lit candles while holding balloons with the words, "Rest in peace, Nick."
I had to come up with a nickname for him, as I do with all the other kids here at the South Stockton Vikings. So I took upon myself to put a little rhythm together and called him Young Slick Nick.
14-year-old Nicholas C. Holland was known to his South Stockton Vikings football teammates as a leader with a passion for the sport.
Nick had a small frame but a big heart.
The teen, along with his friend, 15-year-old Advin Vang, were tragically shot and killed in Stockton over the weekend while out riding their bikes.
I felt like it was my child. I felt like I lost a child.
Who are we? Vikings! Who are we? Vikings!
As this team mourned side by side with Nicholas's loved ones.
Our team is not just a team. It's not just a bunch of kids coming together to play a sport. We became family.
They remember his dedication to his coaches and teammates.
And if he wasn't doing something right, or if I thought he was scared to do something, he looked at me and said, "Coach, I'll do better."
A community now spreading the message of unity while remembering the life of this Vikings player cut short.
We have to come together all over Stockton to respect our future.
Yeah. Love you, Nick.
Do not leave your room! Do not leave your room! Do not leave your room!
Signs posted in windows at the Budgetel Inn and Suites in Modesto signal frustration.
It's just a shame we need help out here.
Robert Andrews is one of dozens staying at the motel short term, now forced to search for another place to stay after the motel closed its doors Saturday.
My sister is wheelchair bound. You just can't put us out after a 3-hour notice.
We got a call that
All heck was breaking loose over here. Them all out.
Is this the owner's office?
No. Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. Don't let her lie to you. This is
Jerry Vigil is a homeless advocate who immediately came down to help.
for them to do this just out of nowhere like this. This is not okay.
We spoke to a man who identified himself by only Frank, a former night manager going through vacant rooms.
What room, guys?
We asked him if there was a current manager still on site.
They basically walked out.
Why did they walk out?
Well, they went bankrupt.
Privately hired security guards tell me they were on site to keep the peace.
We were told to be here as far as security for the people, to contain and make sure that no one's getting robbed or the building itself is getting vandalized.
Now people staying here are trying to figure out what's next, or if they'll even have a place to stay come tomorrow.
Me and my husband are both disabled, and neither one of us had a clue about what was going on.
I mean, right now, we're just trying to get in where we can.
This is beginning to be the usual scene along Interstate 80. Travelers heading toward Reno, stopping at chain checkpoints along the way. That's where we ran into Sierra.
Just like the mountains.
She's traveling to Lake Tahoe for Valentine's Day.
We have friends that rented a cabin and they invited us up and then they gave us a little warning.
CHP officials closed off parts of the interstate after reports of several spinouts and low visibility. Snow and slushy conditions forcing drivers to slow down as plows continue to clear the roadways.
I'm a little apprehensive about this, so I was extra cautious.
While most drivers are just trying to make it through.
Well, hopefully everything, just goes good for us.
John Mitchell and his family stopped to enjoy the fresh coating of snow. As snow levels are continuing to fall.
It's going to get worse, I think, by tomorrow.
These drivers have a warning for people braving the winter weather in the Sierra.
Just be smart. Yeah. And make sure you have your chains. Listen to the instructions for sure.
I'm sorry. For her, this is very unusual. And everyone's so worried about her.
18-year-old Michaela Haight breaks down in tears as she recalls the last few days.
I last saw her Saturday. She just had gotten off of work.
The teen last saw her mother, 38-year-old Tiffany Clark, on her way home from work before she drove back to Calaveras County Saturday night. But the following day, Michaela says her mother's phone kept going to voicemail.
I start calling around all the hospitals, all the jails, all the mental hospitals in every county, Calaveras County, Stanislaus County, everywhere around here, trying to find her because nobody has seen her.
Now facing a dead end, Michaela says she filed a missing persons report Monday in Calaveras County where her mother lives.
No more than 2 hours later, I got a call from Humboldt County Sheriff's Office saying that they have found her car.
More than 300 miles away, the Humboldt County Sheriff's Office confirms they found a black Ford Ranger Sunday near Martins Ferry Bridge.
A neighbor who lived in the area had located a suspicious vehicle parked in the middle of the Martins Ferry Bridge.
But there were no signs of the missing mother inside the abandoned truck.
What made it suspicious for us was that all of Miss Clark's belongings were still inside of the vehicle.
While Michaela says her mother was her best friend and would never leave her, she's hoping for her safe return back to loved ones.
I really hope she comes home. I just want everyone to just keep on praying and keep her in your prayers.
Graduation. Oh, that was graduation day.
Karen Raymond shares memories of her 18-year-old nephew, Johnny Wilson, as she sits next to his mother, Carrie.
Johnny was a really good kid. He, as you can see, is very happy. Smiled a lot.
But now, instead of smiling, this family is mourning his loss. Police say the 18-year-old was shot and killed Thursday night in a drive-by shooting at a home on West Linwood Avenue.
I got a phone call last night at 9:20 telling me to go tell Carrie that Johnny was dead.
Karen says she immediately tried to tell her sister over the phone, but the words couldn't come out.
I didn't want to tell her. I'm like, where are you, Carrie? Where are you? And then I heard on the phone, she went over there and they told her that he was gone.
Bullet holes can be seen at this home we're told belongs to a family member. Karen says there were several people standing on the porch at the time of the shooting, including children.
Yeah, my oldest son grabbed both the babies and ran to the back.
When the gunfire stopped,
that he started calling out for Johnny.
Yeah.
But there was no answer. Police say Johnny was pronounced dead at the scene.
He was the only one that was hit, but there was babies there.
Now this mother is holding on to baby pictures and a strand of his hair she kept after he recently cut it off, while making one last plea to the people who killed her son.
Please come forward.
They need to come forward and say who did it. And then we could rest better.
Colin Kaepernick, hanging from a noose.
This is the picture being shared online, posted by Joseph, who wanted to be referred to only by his first name.
I posted it because I did drive past there probably about three or four times, driving down there, and I didn't notice that.
The picture taken by his friend inside the Bowtie Barber Shop in downtown Placerville shows former 49er Colin Kaepernick hanging from the ceiling by a noose.
I literally had no idea that I was offending people. We have a hangman out here called George, and so with the theme of Hangtown, I hung him, and it was wrong. It was absolutely wrong.
Bowtie Barber is a well-known public figure in this community and says the hang doll has been here since 2016, when Kaepernick and a teammate kneeled during the national anthem.
I'm a diehard 49ers fan, and when that action happens, there was a lot of stuff that was portrayed on the 49ers, and I took it personally.
But even with an apology, some like Joseph say the damage is already done.
Imagine how many kids already done seen that doll. Imagine a lot of people that really disagree with it. They should be playing in the mud and playing football, not worrying about why Colin Kaepernick is hanging from a dang rope on the ceiling.
Now Bowtie Barber says he's learned a valuable lesson and hopes his apology is accepted.
I am publicly announcing that I apologize. It was the wrong thing for me to do. Absolutely will never happen again. I absolutely see the other side of it. I'm sorry.
A legend in the rap community, Charles Williams, known to many as Keek the Sneak, spends his days confined to a wheelchair.
I wake up some days and I cry like a baby.
Williams spent most of his career collaborating with artists, fronting the group 3 Times Crazy and coining phrases like hyphy. But a big change came in January of 2017 when Williams survived an attempt on his life.
Somebody tried to rob me in January. I got shot. I went and bought an illegal gun. I'm like, man, because I be by myself the majority of the time.
A few months later, he was arrested in Amador County after that gun was found inside his car. Williams was on probation at the time. But just a short time later, while out on bail, he was shot 8 times, leaving him physically disabled.
I'm in pain right now as we speak.
In just 1 week, Williams says he is expected to turn himself in to serve a 16-month sentence. Many now saying in his condition, there should be other options, including house arrest.
A lot of people see him as that big rap superstar, but now watching him being bound from a wheelchair, as well as continuing to say positive messages in this bleak time, is more important than him being locked up in a cell.
Disability experts say there are hundreds of people with disabilities across the country facing issues like in Williams' case.
A facility really has to consider, under the law, what somebody needs, somebody with a disability, what they need to be able to have equal access to programs and services.
While Williams says he has no problem doing the time, he wants to ensure he'll get the medical attention he needs while behind bars.
I just needed a little time to get healthier, that's all. You know what I mean? I have no problem with going and doing this time, and I really want to get it behind me.
Like 5'7", about 160 pounds. He didn't really have any hair left.
Chrissy Kavanaugh describes her elderly neighbor, 84-year-old James Kinner, one of dozens of Camp Fire victims still listed as missing.
When I went over there to, tell him what was going on, and he was just like, I'm okay here. Like, he did not want to leave.
You can see burned cars here and also many homes on this property and on this street that are very much damaged. Neighbors tell us this is where James Kinner lived, and they say they're hoping he still made it out alive. Chrissy and her family tell me they narrowly escaped the campfire that left their home in ruins, but desperately tried to get their neighbor to join them. But this family says the 84-year-old had a tough time walking on his own.
I'd walk him probably 25 feet and he'd be out of breath, and he couldn't talk for 3 minutes after that because he's just so far out of breath just walking.
A heartbreaking moment when their neighbor refused to leave.
And you just read in his eyes, he just looked at me and said, "It's my time to go."
Despite the damage, his neighbors say they're keeping up hope he made it out of this pile of rubble alive.
If he was rescued, I'm thinking he could possibly be in a hospital around here somewhere, maybe, or a shelter somewhere. But if anybody has any information, that would be great.